Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. New SEC Chairman Gary Gensler seems to feel entitled to reign supreme and rule over all things crypto. But what's going on in his mind? Can we get inside the head of Gary Gensler? Because there's a lot at play here, frankly. And a lot of what's going on here just don't make no damn sense to Moon Lambeau. And I think that as we go through this video, I think you'll see there's a lot of information actually that comes out in this piece that I'm going to run through. I actually printed this piece off. It's from the New York Post. I highlighted the parts I wanted to talk about, so you can hear the dead trees here. That's some paper right up in this biatcha. Got some things to talk about here. And Gary Gensler, mind you, I've been from the start anyway. I'll word it like this: when he became the SEC chair, I was like, okay, let's start anew. We weren't happy with what happened with that asshat Jay Clayton when he was the SEC chair. Fine. Gary Gensler, don't know for sure what's going to happen here, but let's just try and be neutral, find out, how he might go about things. And as it turns out, it's just like he wants to be a dictator over crypto. And as you'll see as I go through this piece, it just seems like he does not have the authority to do the things that he's seeking to do. And this article also does talk about the Ripple case specifically, and how the SEC is going after them, and of course claiming that XRP is sold as an unregistered security. It stretches all logic. It really does. And also I want to share with you opinions from Jack Dorsey, the creator of Twitter, on just some comments that he had about the infrastructure bill. So plenty to cover in this latest Moon Lambeau hot jam. But I do want to be clear at the outset, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I am just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos all up on the internet, but purely as a fun hobby. That's all that's going on here, damn it. And so I came across this article thanks to John Deaton, and he actually wrote the following about it. Securities lawyer about Gary Gensler, and here's a quote. "He will try and bring a lot of cases, but he has limited authority." And I'll show you the additional context as I go through the article, but I wanted to highlight that here at the outset. And then he writes, as XRP holders have been saying since December 23rd, 2020, SEC vs. Ripple will impact all of crypto and digital assets. The infrastructure bill proves we need unity. And he wrote this just yesterday. And of course, I'm sure at this point the vast majority of you are aware of who John Deaton is. But there's always new people coming on board in the XRP community. In which case, if you're one of those people, welcome. Thank you for stopping by the Moon Lambeau channel, which, by the way, is the best channel on all of the YouTubes. There's science behind that. But John Deaton is the attorney who is seeking to intervene in the SEC vs. Ripple case on behalf of roughly 19,000 XRP holders. And so let's jump on into this New York Post article and get this podcast started. Gary Gensler's ambition to regulate the Wild West of cryptocurrencies is on a collision course with something he can't regulate. More than 7 decades of case law. That was the consensus among securities lawyers with whom I spoke following Gensler's pronouncement last week that high on his ambitious agenda as chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission is to make the booming cryptocurrency market safe for even your grandmother. Oh, that sounds sweet and innocent. Like, I thought I had a little grandmama getting on the crypto buying her some Dogecoin, but doing the Dogecoin all safe. That sounds really nice. I'd love to have some of that. The upshot, according to experts, is that a sweeping crackdown on all things crypto is something he really can't do. You would think Gensler would know this up front. President Biden plucked him out of the highest echelons of academia, MIT no less, where he lectured on financial issues, including the nascent and burgeoning market for digital coins that could become an alternative to the U.S. banking system. Gensler was a longtime Wall Street executive and partner at Goldman Sachs, and worked in government, including as the chair of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC for short. And so, in other words, Gensler has real-world knowledge of the markets. He's also not a lawyer. And while it has become fashionable to denigrate lawyers, Gensler holds a job that demands knowledge of court precedent and law to prevent unfair prosecutions and wild goose chases. Even worse, Ginzer is also blinded by a deeply progressive ideology that seeks to control every inch of business, which he perceives as evil and unsafe territory for the average investor. How much evil is in the $2 trillion crypto market is a matter of debate. Its proponents will tell you the real evil resides in the unholy alliance between the banking system and the Federal Reserve, which uses Wall Street to create money out of thin air, thus debasing our currency. And by the way, that is something that resonates with me supremely. The idea, I should say it stronger than that, the fact that the United States government is debasing the United States dollar by printing it into oblivion, that's very clear. And that particular behavior is one of many reasons that, in my humble opinion, it makes sense to invest in crypto. And so I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold anything. I'm saying for me, me recognizing that is a factor. There are many other factors. I'm not even saying it's the most important factor, but it certainly is a factor. And I'm not one of these guys that thinks that, because this is happening, we're going to imminently see hyperinflation. I'm not some sort of ridiculous alarmist like that. I don't think that makes sense. I just think that the behavior here is very damaging, and that you can't behave like this as a government in perpetuity and expect that there will be no ramifications in the future ever. That is not how this works. It's given enough time, print the dollar into oblivion, continue accumulating trillions and trillions and trillions of debt, and you think that it's just going to be A-okay? Of course not. That money is owed to someone. It's all owed to someone, and some of it's foreign entities. Now, much of it we technically owe to ourselves, but when we say even that, and this is, I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but even though most of the money, fine, it's owed to ourselves, but that's a subset of the citizens in America, right? That it's owed to. You think that you can just accumulate more debt and more debt and more debt, and the people that are offering the credit at some point are not going to be like, this seems like a lot. Are we ever going to get paid back? You don't think that question is crossing their minds? My gosh, and I get it. It's the United States dollar. It's the global reserve, which is why such abuse has been tolerated for so long, but it can't go on in perpetuity. It just can't. And I'm not convinced that we're going to see a dollar collapse necessarily even in my lifetime. It could happen. I'm not saying it won't. I'm just not convinced that it will. Maybe it will. But it's something to be aware of. It should be on your radar, which is why it's just one of a bazillion reasons that cryptocurrencies make sense. But even outside of all that stuff, even if you happen to not care about that, how about the fact that cryptocurrencies like XRP make business models possible that otherwise would not be possible? That should be sufficiently compelling right there. But yes, as far as debasing the currency and spinning into oblivion, all that stuff, I'm disgusted by it, and I know that the vast majority of you listening to this video right now, you are disgusted by it as well, and I'd say rightfully so. And also kudos to you for being aware, because most people have not a clue the degree to which this is all ridiculous and corrupt and disgusting and abusive. Frankly, I don't want this to sound hyperbolic. That's not my intent here, but it's hard to overstate how bad this is, to be honest with you. But it's just taking advantage of the American people. It just is. They're fine. You can blame them because maybe people should pay more attention to this and that. But I get it. People are living their lives, this and that, and it's never going to be the case that everybody's going to be as interested as I am or you necessarily are. But damn. I think that these people, a lot of them, they know that too, and they're just behaving in a way that benefits them. And I'm done with it. I'm just so grossed out, but I really am. And so for me, having a hedge against all of this stuff, even though I'm not convinced that it's all going to collapse while I'm alive, I mean, it could. For me, it's more like I don't know, and so I'm glad I hold crypto. Even that's a good enough reason, frankly. Anyway, the piece continues. Who gets to regulate what goes on inside the blockchain and the broader crypto world is still a matter of debate, securities lawyers tell me. Certainly, the CFTC has some say because cryptos are more closely aligned with commodities than they are with, say, stocks or bonds. Well, isn't that something? What do you know? By nature, just the fact of crypto like XRP, for example, can exist, it's more in line with being a commodity because it can be used for multiple things. And especially in the case of XRP, it's decentralized. What a novel thought, right? Piece continues, but securities lawyers told me that the uber regulator for crypto certainly isn't the SEC, which can only regulate so-called securities, a stock or a bond, or some type of financial instrument that resembles either. Okay, pause, time out. This is one of the many reasons I wanted to cover this. There is substantial overreach with the SEC right now, and Gary Gensler's overseeing it, and he is just beyond, like, he is beyond thrilled. He is head over heels happy that this is happening. He just, whatever we can do to control more, take more power, whatever we can get away with. Let's see what we can get away with. Let's do that. That's what we're now seeing from Gary Gensler. And again, when he came in, I was blank slate, effectively. I was like, I hope that he regulates in such a way, or leads in such a way. Let's say it like that. I hope that he leads in such a way that there's no more regulation by enforcement, and that we receive sufficient clarity within crypto markets. But instead, what we're seeing is just a complete oversteps, and this is going to impact all of us. And this should be, you got to fight back against this stuff. And you can already tell too, as I've highlighted comments from other individuals within the CFTC currently. They've been speaking out against some of this nonsense that he's been spouting right here, because it's clear that he's made oversteps. I've cited some of those quotes in recent videos. This is not good stuff. Anyway, the piece continues here, though. It doesn't matter that cryptos can be traded like a stock. Baseball cards can be traded like a stock. Stocks and bonds represent an underlying investment, i.e., a company's profits or losses. In most cases, cryptos, like baseball cards, they don't, which is excuse me, sorry guys, they don't, which is why you never see the SEC bringing cases when kids or anyone else rip people off when they trade them. Well, how about that? I asked a top securities lawyer who spoke to me on background, presumably because he still hopes to talk Gensler out of a wild goose chase, and his response to this was, quote, "He will try and bring a lot of cases, but he has limited authority," end quote. So let me pause again. Think about that. He has limited authority. It seems to me, to this point anyway, that he's overstepping this authority. And so it's just a question of, are people going to step in and stop him from the overstep? That's what it looks like to me. And so the piece continues. As SEC chair, can't Gensler just deem digital currencies a security and let the games begin? The SEC under Jay Clayton did just that when it brought a case against a company called Ripple Labs for issuing digital currency that the commission claimed were unregistered securities. No, the securities lawyer said. And here's a quote. "There are 75 years of case law to prevent that," end quote. That's a securities lawyer. Now, and then he wrote, "Good point. The Ripple case is hardly a slam dunk. With the court still weighing whether the SEC overstepped its jurisdiction in filing the lawsuit in an area of commerce possibly better regulated by Gensler's old shop, the CFTC." And by the way, again, to be clear, like I've said before, Gary Gensler, he was actually chair of the CFTC, and now people at the CFTC are like, WTF, Gary, what the hell are you doing? And I've shared some of these comments from people that are there now. Now, shifting gears only slightly, I want to get into this short thread from Jack Dorsey, who is a creator of Twitter, and it's on the infrastructure bill, which I hate this. Like, I just, every time oh my gosh, I swear it grinds my gears so much every time I even start thinking about this, how they just threw onerous crypto regulations into an infrastructure bill when they have no idea what the ramifications would be. It's completely haphazard. They don't care about the consequences, who it's going to affect. They're just stupid politicians being a bunch of pricks. That's what they're doing. They don't give a damn. They seriously do not care. They really don't. And so anyway, Jack Dorsey wrote the following, and he tagged a number of senators. It's the senators that were involved in the amendments potential amendments, potential amendments to the infrastructure bill, and I'm not going to go through the specifics in this video because I've already done that. Actually, in I guess it was my very last video, yeah. So I'm going to assume that we're all caught up there. If you're not, you'll even if you don't have proper context, you'll get what he's saying here, and then you can always go back and watch my very last video if you want the additional specifics on currently what's up, what's going on right now. But anyway, Jack wrote the following. Respective staff to all those senators, also respective staff and everyone who's worked on the infrastructure bill crypto tax reporting provision, thank you for your work to get this right. May we offer a workable simplification. Forcing reporting rules on Americans who develop software and hardware, who mine and secure the network, or who run nodes to build resilience and efficiencies is an impossible ask that will only drive development and operation of this critical technology outside the United States. If we can't strike the entire provision so we can have proper hearings and deliberation, then let's simplify the definition of broker to what really matters, where digital assets are exchanged for fiat currency. So, to be clear, broker equals fiat to crypto exchange. If you feel this doesn't go far enough, I'd argue that this at least gets you to 90% of goal. For the remaining 10% of edge cases, let's make a proper, well-informed law through committee hearings with witnesses on both sides of the debate. Thank you for the work thus far, and thank you for the consideration. I thought those were good, reasonable thoughts. I don't agree with him on all sorts of stuff that he says, but I'll tell you what, that thread made a whole lot of damn sense. I'm even going to heart this right there. Do you see that? That might be the first time I've ever hearted a Jack Dorsey tweet. Well, how about that? A first time for everything. I'll go ahead and wrap up there, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.